Matt, my buddy, my pal, you are back again within a year for very good reason. And I don't know how else to really start a this wouldn't be a press junket because it's just, just one member of the creative team. But
Yeah,
let's do a quick catch up. What have you been working on the last year or so since we had you on the show?
man. So this past year, my production company, Chameleon Film Studios, and we have been in the process of producing a feature-length film. It's called The Scars of Our Hands. It's about two brothers who trek through the Rocky Mountains to stop an arsonist. We have filmed it all in Colorado with 100%, Colorado cast, Colorado crew, people who were born here, people who know the landscape, know the beauty of this place, and finally, we are reaching the finish line.
With a premiere, God, what, 18? I guess it would be, well, no. By the time this episode comes out, because it's coming out this Saturday, it'll be the 2 weeks
It'll be two
almost.
weeks, yeah. So we're
Oh my
premiering
God.
on August 18th. So yeah, this will come out. I think. Oh, I'm bad with dates. It'll come out the third. So yeah, that'll be 2 weeks away.
Holy crap. And you know what? I I had completely forgotten about this until you and I were talking through email. I remember doing the table read. Like we were reading through the script as just like a group of actors in your uh, I want to say like a basement house.
Yeah, yeah, that's a nicer way. A garden level unit,
a garden
like
level.
it's
Like
it's better than calling it a dungeon, which is truly what it was. But we tried to make it homey.
and it was fun. I mean, we all brought drinks and we had some snacks and just sat around and read the script, and the script was awesome. And I remember you saying, like, yeah, our plan is to film this within the next year, and you guys fucking did it. After talking to you, to Chloe, to Maddie, to everybody else who's involved in the production over the last year, like you guys worked yourselves to the bone to get this done. I mean, you filmed in the middle of nowhere, right? For the most part.
Yeah, yeah. It was really like it felt like I forget the movie, but Werner Herzog's like epic
Oh,
like
yeah.
Amazonian slaughter. Like we were
Which one
we
was
were
that?
in like literally like trying to like hoist a yacht up the side of a mountain. It was similar. Like we were in the backwoods in like around Netherland and in Winter Park up right behind like in Granby, like behind Rocky Mountain National Park too. Like just log like combo stands and sandbags up the sides of mountains and stuff. It was crazy. I think I lost 11 pounds the first 2 weeks because it was so much movement. It was so much physical exertion. Our
I'm
location
sure.
manager, Tom Spaldi, he actually made a joke that the next feature we do, we're not going to pay anybody. Instead, they'll pay us a membership to more or less like a workout club. It'll be like, they have like run clubs. Ours
Yeah.
will just be a film club, but the whole point is you're not really there to make a film. That's what we get out of it. You get
Yeah.
out, oh, top notch workout as we send you up the side of a hill with like a generator and two sandbags, you know?
Which means the next movie you're going to film is going to be like San Luis Valley, like sand dune area.
The next film that I do is going to take place in one air conditioned room that's two
Oh,
blocks away from my house. That's like, I am, the adventure of being out there is something that is like truly going to be a lifelong like memory and love and like
yeah.
one of the greatest times of my life. Like truly just like memories that will last forever, but also like the hardest thing that any of us had ever done. It was uh, this Herculean task, especially being a low budget indie film. Um, to put anything of that scale on, you need not only really talented people and not only really hard workers, but you need people who are just passionate about film,
Yeah.
and then you need to create a culture in which those people feel that, okay, this is going to be hard, this is going to be a challenge, but we're going to tackle it anyway, and we're going to kind of revel in the challenge of it. Um, which I was lucky enough to just be surrounded by so many people who, despite the difficulties, had each other's backs. Um, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's exactly what you need, is to just be there for each other. And I think that's kind of the big thing that we wanted to kind of do with the film. It's a very Colorado based film. We wanted to show off the natural landscapes and the beauty of the state and the beauty of the community of the state. And a big part of that is the beauty of the community of filmmakers in the state and people in the arts in this state. Um, just overwhelming help and support and generosity and kindness from everybody that really made it worthwhile. I think I'm about 5 miles off of our original topic right now, but
Well,
anyway.
for a story that is so, like, it's not only rich in character, but rich in, the visual way that you filmed. I mean, your whole team filmed it based off of what we've seen in the teaser trailer. I mean, I can only expect that much gratitude and passion for, the folks that helped make this, this piece of art. And I can't remember, I know, we talked in our group about when you guys wrapped filming, but how long did this entire principal photography take for you to go from, day one to finish?
Mm. Not including a few weekends thrown in there, it was 19 days
Jeez.
from first time camera rolled to the last time camera cut. And it was a like just a I remember we started it'll be cool. We started August 14th of 2023, and then we're premiering August 18th of 2024. So it's almost exactly a year since we first rolled cameras that we're premiering the thing, which is really really cool. Especially with sometimes with indie projects, they can sit on the shelf for years, and that's not even necessarily the fault of the filmmakers. It's sometimes the funds just dry up and you don't have the help you need. So we were really really lucky, and I have been incredibly blessed to be around people who have helped us get to the finish line with that. But yeah, it was a sprint, man. I think that a lot of people think film is like it's always the big schedules where it's like, yeah, we're making the Avengers and we have 150 days. I don't even know, that's an arbitrary number. I don't even know. I'm just guessing because it's a big
I would
number.
assume. Yeah, that seems about
Right?
on point.
And but no, it's like you got, because every second you spend on set, you spend on money. You spend money. So when you're indie, that you don't have much. So it's really about stretching the dollar. It's really about finding how efficient you can be and just how much you can reasonably do in a day. But yeah, it was about 19 days from start to finish.
I mean, you brought up having an indie budget as well, and in a state where, like you said, like we've all talked about, we are a state of just really, really film obsessed creatives, in this part of the industry at least. And when we're in Colorado, we shoot hell or high water, no matter what's happening. We'll pivot on a dime. With this film, especially, like, were there any days where you guys said we need to push this into either a late afternoon shoot, may have to go into the next day? Like, did you run into a bear? I mean, you were in the middle of nowhere. So you have to have some kind of, like, I don't know, rescheduling war
Yeah,
stories from filming in the middle of just the Rocky
yeah.
Mountains.
Well, it's funny. Well, first of all, it's funny you say, did you run into a bear? We didn't run into any bears. We did run into many moose. There
Shit.
were, I remember like it was like the first day of shooting. We're shooting at the beautiful Monarch Lake up in Arapahoe Valley Ranch, and it's about it's about a 10-minute walk from the parking lot where we have everything staged to where we're filming. And so we're just doing these big kind of parades of equipment, back and forth, to start the day. And we had just gotten finished talking about like, hey, everybody, just so you know, there are wild animals. We had our safety debrief and all that kind of stuff, making people aware of what's happening. And I'm kind of standing there and I'm walking back towards the parking lot and I just hear like like some like galloping. And I look down the path, and there's this big old moose. And it was, thankfully it wasn't a mother. It was a papa
Oh,
moose.
good.
But
Okay.
he was just like charging through, not angrily. It was obvious he was just making his way through. But I drop whatever I had, and I jump into the trees, and I just shouted, "Moose, moose, moose!" And I can see all up the line, everybody does the same thing. They all just drop their stuff, run into the trees, get behind a tree, doing exactly what you're supposed to do to not get, hurt by a moose.
Yeah.
And then they were all over the place. They were just like in the rivers and in the ponds that we were filming next to. And every time we saw one, we just like stopped doing what we were doing and like pulled back and we're like, all right, let's watch the beauty of nature for a little bit from the safety of like tucked behind our cars. Um, and then we would pop out. So those were like micro schedule changes. We did have one macro schedule change, which was kind of our greatest savior turned out to be one of our greatest curses, in that the film is about an arson, or an arsonist, right? It's about an arsonist, and so there are a lot of themes of like fire throughout the film. um, Obviously, this, being a Coloradan yourself, this state has the tendency to light up like a matchstick every once in a while, especially in July and August.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Right now.
but yeah, exactly. I know. I was just driving like yesterday, and I look out on the front range, and just a mountain was
Just
engulfed in flames,
yeah.
and I just saw this plume, and I was like, "Oh, great, that's phenomenal." But anyway, like last year was an oddly, really, really wet year for Colorado. And so for the first time in a while, there are no fire bans. And we didn't, you're going to have to see the film to know why. Well, you know why, because you're at the table read, but everybody
No, I don't
listening
know
will
why.
have to, yeah, mystery.
Yeah.
But, we don't have any like big bonfires outside. And there's a very specific reason for that. That is a narrative reason that you'll see in the film. But we do have like some smaller fires and stuff, and it was great. Like, okay, thank goodness we can actually film this, safely and legitimately, because it's been so rainy. Problem is, we get up for one of the most difficult night shoot of the schedule for sure. It was up on top of this hill, which that whole thing was a big location craziness, because we had gone and scouted out this beautiful little couple of campsites. And we're like, oh, this is perfect. And then a week later, when we come to shoot, the road had washed out. So on the dime, I will promote our locations manager, Tom Smaldone, till the last day I breathe, because on the day, within an hour, he found a replacement location that we ended up filming at for a week. Like it wasn't like he just found, he's like, oh, we can just go to this, we're filming at this gas station, we'll go to this other gas station. We had to have multiple campsites, we had to have a big meadow, we had to have all this kind of stuff. And he literally was like, let me make some calls. Boom, 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 and we had a new place, and right across the valley, we were in Left Hand Valley, I think it's called Left Hand Canyon. Literally just across on the other side of the valley. He just found, because that's the genius he is. And so we're standing there, we're up on this big meadow, you know, all of our equipment's up there. We have a bunch of like apertures and a bunch of stands and a bunch of just a ton of stuff. And it starts to rain. And we had foreseen there was going to be some rain, but it did not predict as much as what we got. And so we grab our emergency tarps and we throw over the tarps over everything to keep all the equipment safe. And we book it down this hill, because we were filming up on this meadow on top of a hill. We book it down the hill, and the location had a teepee. And so we all just jumped into this teepee, and we're sitting there like soaking wet, defeated, like true. Like I remember the Paul, those first like 20 minutes of like, what are we gonna do? Because when you're at this budget, you don't have the money to schedule pickup days. You can't do, you just got to figure it out on the fly, kind of, in a sense. And plus, it's like this property was just like the generosity of the property owner. he saw that we were in a bind, and he was like, "Yes, come in again." The generosity and kindness of Coloradans, it was incredible.
Yeah.
So he brought us, onto his property, and so we're like, well, we can't overstay our welcome. We can't just book another day. Um, and this is the weird thing about it. We ended up rescheduling it. We ended up getting it done. As it always happens. You don't exactly know how, but it always works. You get it done. But what was really phenomenal about that night was it ended up being one of the most fun nights of the shoot because we're all so exhausted at this point. And then we're in this soaking wet in this teepee, just kind of like honestly not too busy catching our breath to really feel sad. But it's just this pall kind of fell over everything, and then we just started playing games, and we made up all these games on set. We are one of our leads, JT Millerano, he plays Arthur in the film. He has a game called Scurbed, it's a game for film people. Basically, I don't I feel like I'm going to get the rules wrong, but you say a person and a movie, like an actor and a movie they've been in, and then the next person has to say a different actor from a movie
Ah,
and a movie that they've been in, and you go around until you stump somebody. Like my what was it? It was I always won on The Shining because if you get Jack Nicholson, The Shining, people Shelley Duvall is not as well known as Jack Nicholson, and
yeah.
Scatman Crothers is definitely not as well known as either of them. So usually that one would win. But we started playing games like that, and
Yeah.
then we went back to the housing that we had, and just like 14 of us piled in a single hot tub, and just it just had a wondrous time. Um, and then the next day we woke up and we were like, well, let's do it. Let's figure it out and we'll make it work.
Of
And we
course.
did.
See, that's just one of those creative moments where, I mean, it's just you needed that veil of pressure to be lifted off of you. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that sucked, but I'm sure you went into the rest of the shoot thinking nothing will ever be as bad as that night.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely not.
That's so true. There's a weird invincibility that you get when you go through something like that,
Yeah.
where you get up the next day, and then or even then, like you finish with the day that comes after that. And you're like, well, we survived last night and we made
Mhm.
it to today and we accomplished everything we wanted to today. Nothing can hurt us now.
Yeah.
Nothing can hurt us now.
Today
Like
was a
we
great
are,
day.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're invincible. I mean, and it is such a weird thing that there is that feeling of invincibility, that feeling of we got people that want to be here. We got a good story to tell. We really believe in it, and man, to me, it gets into this like cosmic destiny thing of I don't know. I feel like the one great blessing that we have as artists is that the deepest part of us knows for a fact that this is what we're supposed to do. You know, what we lose in financial security, we make up for in existential security.
It's
If
so
that makes sense,
fucking
not to get
true.
too philosophical. Yeah, I
No,
don't like
it's
not to
so
get too
true.
philosophical about it, but yeah, and and so for a fact it's like this. Hell yeah, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I'm doing the thing. I went through a challenge. We made it through the other side. I mean, this is like affirmation, really. Like this is
Oh, for
destiny
sure.
affirmation. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's weird. It's yeah. I mean, it'll ring in my soul as like one of the craziest emotional mental journeys for the rest of my life. It was nuts.
Oh, it better be, 'cause I've never asked you this since you guys wrapped principal on this, just like what is I mean, I know you're working right now in, a different facet of filmmaking, but your next project that you will have written and directed or will just direct, what do you want that project to be if you've thought about it? After you've gone through this insane, like,
Mm.
just mountainous odyssey of moose and rainfall and all this other shit that you guys went through as a collective. Do you know what your next project is going to be?
It's that's a tough question because there's not just one, there's a few different options.
Oh,
We've been
okay.
just as a collaborative kind of effort at Chameleon,
Hmm.
we're experimenting with kind of a new type of way to do storytelling with film. Um, and I don't want to say too much, but
Yeah.
we're looking at something maybe comedic, something just I don't know that I. It's funny. I got my start in comedy, but then as I got into filmmaking, you know, I just have written very like emotional, dramatic things, and I kind of want to get back
It's
to
so true.
comedy because it's just a wonderful outlet. But it's funny. I was up at my family and I, we went up to Cheyenne Frontier Days the other day up in Wyoming. And every single year, I go to the stock show in Denver with my childhood friends.
Mm.
Um, and I'm just like fascinated by like rodeo culture. Like, and of course, like we get through this like very difficult like bit. We're shooting outside for like 19 days. It's this giant thing, and the first thing my brain goes to after that is like, how about I make a movie about rodeos where I have to we're gonna have to figure out how to show a rodeo in a film and not
Yeah.
do it with And so anyway, I have a very big problem with scope. I think and ambition. That's something I need to be able to rein back. But I don't know. There's something very like I think it is an environment of so many unique characters.
Mm.
Like you have the cowboys, but then there's different types. You have the steer wrestlers who are these gigantic Nebraskan dudes who weigh like 300 pounds and they're 7 feet tall and their shoulders are as wide as the Titanic and they literally jump off of horses to wrestle steer.
Is that what they do?
Nuts. Yeah, it's nuts. It's the
Holy
craziest thing
shit.
you'll ever see in your life.
Oh my
They
god.
literally are ride on a horse next to a bull, and they just jump off and grab the bull. It's nuts. Or like the bull riders, or the bronco riders, or like the trick the horse trick riders. The and then it goes beyond that to like the people you see in the stands, the announcers. There's always the same rodeo clown who's like there's three rodeo clowns always, and two of them are like normal guys who are like just out there literally with the bull just like trying to not doing all the work, and then there's one dude who you can tell has like earned his stripes, and he
Sure.
he like just sits in the barrel the whole time, and then he pops out and he like makes a joke, and he's the one with the microphone, and he does some dances and the crowd loves him and stuff. And he like they all they have the same, it's like very similar personalities, similar like looks too. And it's, I don't know, there's also something I think very sweet about that culture in that I don't know, I'm just going on about my love for rodeos. I just like I really like how they're very like, dang it, we love what we do and we love our families and we love these beautiful animals. Like a
Yeah.
horse is the most beautiful animal that's ever been created. It's just an absolute, it's a unit, like horses are incredible. Um,
If there's
so
ever
anyway,
a way to describe a horse,
that thing's a unit,
that
dude.
thing's a unit.
That thing is mostly muscles with a loose skeleton. Like that is man, those are beautiful creatures.
Yeah.
So anyway, like I don't know, I'm not a cowboy myself. I mean, I look like this. I'm more Brooklyn hipster than I am cowboy, but like but I don't know. There's just something I step into that culture and it's like, this is such a I don't know. It just feels like a very just
Yeah.
an unexplored, really, really rich culture that there could be a lot of stories within. So who knows? Maybe something like that.
I mean, that would be if I could see you doing anything, it would definitely be because I didn't know that you went to the stock show and we're all on Instagram and social media now, so seeing you go there and like you're having a blast, I can only imagine what your, you know, creative brain could, just put together this I'm just thinking of a rodeo comedy, and I'm not sure if
Yeah.
there's a whole lot of those. The Big Lebowski
Yeah.
set in, the world of rodeo culture would be just hilarious. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I could definitely see you because yeah, like you said, you're not a rodeo guy, but I feel like I don't know, the whole I don't know, I guess facade of being like one thing instead of another. We've just sort of melted that away, especially as creatives in the last
Hmm.
20 or 30 years where we have, folks who love so many different things and you would never think that upon meeting
Mm.
them. But God, I hope you make a rodeo film about whatever genre that is. I hope you make it because I know that you
Yeah.
would put your fucking heart and soul into it, you
It's
know?
yeah, it's so funny. Like I remember for the longest time, there's been Aaron Copland is a historic American composer, and really in a lot of ways captured the voice or the sound of the West in his compositions. And he has a whole few movements called the rodeo,
Mm.
and the the there's one of I think it's the fourth movement of rodeo. It just all I can see is just like a it's like a cartoon comedy family kind of thing where it's like you have the old grandpa and he like walks into the stadium and everyone's like, oh, who's this old geezer? And he's unsuspecting, and then he's like actually like a six shooting trick master, and then the dad's the bull rider, and the mom's the trick horse person, and like the kids like it just revolves around him, and it just like for years has excited this like very Pixar esque kind of like excitement of like, man, there's so many adventures in that place. But you're absolutely right. Like I think that one of the things that I really love about being in like this community is it is very it's just like it's so diverse, so many things that people are into, so many different like like cultures that meld here, so many different activities, so many different like histories. Like my family's been in Denver for forever, and the story. I mean, that will be. I if I had like one story to tell, and I could only tell one, it would be like the story of like the old people in Denver, because ever since especially since immigration started back in the late 19th century, earlier 20th century, more mass immigration, the stories that came out of that are beautiful and tragic and heartwarming and heart wrenching and like I mean incredible. My grandpa used to tell me stories that like he'd tell them so casually because they were just his life. It wasn't like
Yeah.
he was making any of it up. It was just his life. But you would hear it and you'd be like, "You're kidding. That can't have happened."
That's nuts.
Um, That's nuts. And so yeah, there's so much to be. I don't know. Again, like the scars of our hands is just in a weird way. I mean, it's a love letter to a lot of things, but it is a love letter to Colorado in that it's just I don't know. There's especially in film, there's always the big draw to the big cities, and I don't think that's bad. I love LA. I think it's a wonderful town. I truly, truly love it. Um, but there's something to be said for home, and there's something to be said for like I don't know the little outfit that gets it done and doesn't have all the bells and whistles, but it comes from a place of love and it comes from the heart, and I think that's kind of what our film has been for at least I know at least for myself.
Yeah.
It's been this great exploration of just kind of my own heart and my own thoughts on just a lot of different things, all kind of wrapped up in this bow that is the beauty of the Rockies. So again, the topic has been diverted from many,
No,
many times, and
you have a way of like taking any answer and just expounding upon it with this this mix of both poetry and just natural surrealism that I can only relate to so heavily. And I
yeah,
mean all that just and you brought it right back around to, the film we're talking about today and it's not every day you get a premiere for an independent film that somebody's made, especially locally. Sometimes things fall apart and oh, hey, it's on Vimeo. If you can toss us a couple of bucks, well, I'll share the link with you. But you guys have an actual premiere coming up for the film. So do you have any details on, you know, where people can go get tickets and where the premiere is at? What do people wear to premieres? I think is a very prudent
You know, great
question.
question. Great question. I actually just learned the difference between formal and black tie like 2 days ago.
Oh, there's a
So I think
difference?
this is, yeah,
Oh
yeah, I didn't
shit.
know this. So
That's
black tie is tuxedo, and
hmm,
I could be wrong. That's the craziest part about all this. Black tie, so I've heard, is tuxedo.
yeah.
Formal is like a suit. So
Hmm,
do with that what you will. We are
yeah.
not black tie. We are formal. So basically, yeah, the premiere is on August 18th. It is going to be at the Oriental Theater in Denver. Now that location is actually really, really important to us because Chameleon Film Studios got its start on Tennyson Street in the Highlands, like Lower Berkeley, around Sunnyside, but like in the Highlands, West Highlands. We got our start on Tennyson Street. We made our first three films, short films on Tennyson Street. Tennyson Street has been for it was it was the delivery room for Chameleon. It was the delivery room for a lot of these ideas. Remember the first film we ever did? We just wanted to make a film, and so we went to Atomic Cowboy on Tennyson Street. We have the two
Oh
seats
yeah.
right up there, two seats right up behind the bar. We
Yeah.
sat there, and those are our seats to this day. Um, and it's great. We like because people, we know the bartenders, and we would sit there and you know, I wrote the first script there. I wrote the first idea there. So as the Scars of Our Hands is kind of the culminating project of this kind of first chapter of Chameleon Film Studios, it felt only appropriate to go back to where it all started, which is Tennyson Street. And the Oriental Theater, historic theater, has been a mainstay of Tennyson Street culture, of that community. So we will be at the Oriental Theater. You can find tickets on their website. August 18th. Doors are going to be opening at 5 p.m. That's when the red carpet starts. That's when the mixer starts. You'll get to meet everybody who's involved with the film. Everybody is going to be there mingling, having fun, talking about the film, sharing stories, really fun stuff. Red carpet, there'll be our biggest step and repeat. We'll have a photographer there. It'll just be a really great time. Then we'll jump into the film at about 6. And the film will, have all the classic stuff. We'll have a Q&A afterwards. We'll have a big shout out section to thank all of the incredible people that made this possible. And finally, what to wear. Wear your Sunday duds. I mean, go all out, man. Like I myself am I'm thinking like I need to go get a new suit for this thing, man. I want to get a big old suit with a big moth on the back of it, which was a suggestion from our composer, one of our composers. And you won't know why that's important until you see the film. So it's going to be a great night. I'm so excited for it. It's one of those things where I feel like it is they're very much there, but it's these smaller independent premieres are rare.
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
and I think that it's something that we want this to be a celebration of not only our film but of the Colorado filmmaking community. And so yeah, we want to put out the word to everyone, to any filmmaker in Colorado, to any film lover in Colorado, to any art lover in Colorado. Because film is not just about the camera. Film is about the visual medium. It can, paintings and sculpture. Any of that kind of stuff is direct inspiration for film. To anyone in the Tennyson, Denver Front Range community. I mean, hey, if you're from Grand Junction, come on out. We'll take you too. Um, Anybody who wants to come is welcome. We are here to just have a wonderful celebratory night, and really show the rest of the 49 states, hey, we're here, guys. We're gonna be churning out some good stuff.
Yeah. If the next year or so says anything about, the amount of amazing films that come out of the state, it's another reason for Sundance to come over to Boulder or don't. We don't care. We got our own
We'll be
shit going
just
on.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. I can't wait. It's gonna be amazing. And I don't know, I always look back on when I first met you in acting class to going to your first feature premiere at the Bug Theater for Life and
Yeah.
Death.
Another historic Denver
Yeah,
theater. Yeah.
another amazing, like, just I don't know, very pivotal moment in your career that I saw that night. Like, things are only escalating in such a great way where, yeah, you might start pulling out more of your hair because there's more stuff to worry about, but you're just
So true.
you're you're just rocking it, man. And yeah, I'm psyched for the premiere. I'm glad we didn't spoil anything in the film for anyone who's really gearing up to see it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I just want to see if there's any like last things you want to say before we end this impromptu junket with the
Uh,
director of The Scars of Our Hands.
oh, makes me sound so official. I mean, truly, like I want to wrap this up by saying thank you, Tyler. Your podcast has been well known to all of us and our friends, and has such a great audience. And it's viewed as a point of inspiration for me, for so many of our friends, for so many people in the community and your audience. I
Oh,
want to
sweet
thank
man.
you for having me on. Like and truly, there's I think that with all the hubbub and all the flustering, about it all, um, I just want to make sure that I'm very forthcoming with my gratitude, because it's a difficult thing, and it is only made possible by friends like you. So you are a top notch, incredible guy, a very good actor. That, like, if you're just listening to just the podcast, you should watch some of Tyler's acting, because he's really, really phenomenal at it. And if you ever get the chance, if you're ever lucky enough to actually hang out with him as a person, you will also find he is a wonderful friend. So thank you, man.
No, thank you. But that was God, that was the sweetest thing everyone's ever said about me. Like, honestly, no, I need to bring that gratitude right back to you because you are taking your ideas and taking all of this creative energy and putting it into something that becomes tangible. You're doing it. You're not just saying, yeah, I've had the script for a couple of years. I'll sell it. You're not one of those people. You're like, no, fuck it. I'll make it myself. And, it's going to be amazing. So yeah, I just can't wait to see what you do next, what you keep doing. And, as, one of your buddies here locally, I can only expect I get, some press badges for, the next few films to take some, on-set video and interviews and just see what else you're doing, man. And yeah, I can't tell you enough like how proud I am of you, buddy, especially after the first night that we met in acting class and you said, I want to act and learn how to really hone this craft, but I really want to be a filmmaker. That was 2 years ago, and you're two features later with more to I mean, you blow me away, man. So yeah, I can't thank you enough as well for keeping that cycle going. And I'm gonna wrap up my little rant there about you, my little love for you, and end this on a on a good
We love
note.
each other, guys.
Yeah, before we get
Yeah,
to
thank you, man.
Deadpool and Wolverine about it,
Yeah.
but we're both
Yeah.
Deadpool. Um,
Yeah. This is very true.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, buddy, I'm gonna wrap it up here. For those of you listening, get your tickets. The link will be in the show notes for the premiere. If you miss the premiere, then it will be accessible to you at some point soon because why wouldn't anybody pick up this film? I can't wait to see it, man. So yeah, until then, I will see you on the 18th.
Thank you, man. We'll see you there.